So at the moment, the biggest challenge the country is facing is macro instability. Very high inflation, severe forex shortages, high indebtedness.
So Rwanda is a net importer, which means that anything that happens in the global market is going to have large impacts on the local economy.
We have to mention that the Mozambique economy is very vulnerable to the external shocks. A great part of the economy is resource dependent, especially maize, rice, and those essential goods for our economy.
We've just come out of the COVID pandemic, and then we also have the impact of the Russia-Ukraine war, where most of this grain and the fertilizers that the African countries used to grow their food comes from.
As the prices were rising very quickly, we also imported directly all those prices to our economy, and this affected huge the people, especially the vulnerable people. Now we have more than 50, like half of population living under the poverty line.
The global economic challenge, of course, has affected Mozambique as with other countries, African countries, especially on the fiscal side and then on the monetary side, facing both challenge to invest or to protect more the households, the most vulnerable household, the ones that was suffering a little bit with this challenge from the global economy.
We've been encouraging governments to have a tighter monetary and fiscal policy, but that also has a cost. So there are little you can do without compromising certain things. So by reducing fiscal spending, for example, future development projects are affected. Welfare services could be affected, education, health, basic services could be affected because these are largely public spending based. Just to give you some example, inflation in Ethiopia has hovered around 30% the past few months, and part of that is caused by bread, wheat price increases that drove inflation. And imported inflation has been particularly large on the economy. So yeah, it's been tough.
We have to be always attentive to what is happening because any shock, any external shock on the prices of goods, cereals, in the prices of commodities, always those shocks affect our economy internally.
You have to work locally as well as globally. You can't separate the two. It's an interconnected world. We can't work in silos. We can't work just bilaterally. We have to work multilaterally in order to resolve the issues which are multilateral.